डोनाल्ड ट्रंप हैज़ दिस हैबिट कि वो कुछ स्टेटमेंट देते हैं एंड देन ही विड्रॉज इट एंड लेटली उन्होंने भी कुछ कमेंट किया था दैट रशिया एंड इंडिया डेड इकोनॉमी.
You have freedom of expression, you can say anything you want. Suppose I ban Zomato. Will the guy become nuclear scientist? He'll do some BA or something in some government college, waste 3 years, and then do what? Sit in a village under the tree and play matka?
ये जो ओवर वैल्यूएशंस हैं ऑफ द मार्केट, डज दिस हैव एनी इकोनॉमिक जस्टिफिकेशन?
India is very different in terms of growth. And that is why this tariff and all is not going to make big deal for India. This had happened to China 20 years ago, they would have been in deep trouble. See, we romanticize agriculture and SMEs and then don't do anything for them. Having population is what matters. Nigeria is also good. Pakistan should do well. In India, UP should be the best place.
This tariff war has hit them harder than COVID.
Why is US able to punish us and get away? Why not China?
हेलो एवरीवन, स्वागत है आपका द नेटवर्क शो के एक नए एपिसोड में. मैं हूं शगुन और आज हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं मिस्टर प्रसन्न तांत्री, who's an associate professor of finance and executive director at Center for Analytical Finance at ISP हैदराबाद. आज हम नेटवर्थ और इन्वेस्टमेंट के बारे में तो बात करेंगे, पर एक स्टेप आगे जाएंगे और बात करेंगे इंडिया की इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ, टैरिफ्स के इम्पैक्ट और अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट जैसे टॉपिक्स के बारे में. अगर आपको ये इंटरेस्टिंग लगे, स्टे ट्यून्ड टिल द एंड. चलिए इस कॉन्वर्सेशन को शुरू करते हैं. So sir, every conversation has to begin with me asking you, how are you feeling today?
Good, very good. Except that the flight was delayed and couldn't sleep properly. These
Yeah.
are issues.
Yeah.
Everywhere there's waterlogging and
So I mean,
except that everything else is fine.
बट हमारे दर्शकों को नहीं पता होगा, बट सर के साथ हमने पॉडकास्ट करने के लिए बहुत मेहनत करी है. वी हैड टू अटेम्प्ट इट मल्टीपल टाइम्स, सो आई एम रियली एक्साइटेड फॉर दिस कॉन्वर्सेशन.
Thank you.
तो सर, कॉन्वर्सेशन को शुरू करते हुए समथिंग दैट्स बिन ऑल ओवर द न्यूज़ लेटली. यूएस ने इंडिया के ऊपर 50% टैरिफ्स लगाए हैं बिकॉज वी आर बाइंग रशियन क्रूड ऑयल एंड दिस इज़ अ पनिशमेंट फॉर अस. सो आई वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि ये जो टैरिफ्स हैं, इनका इम्पैक्ट क्या है ऑन आवर कंट्री, एंड ऑल्सो हाउ इज दिस गोइंग टू अफेक्ट एम्प्लॉयमेंट एंड व्हाट आर द सेक्टर्स जो सबसे ज़्यादा इस चीज़ से अफेक्ट हो सकते हैं?
So deserve this and all, there is no logic for it. It's like they were looking, see, they had to show that they are doing something to prevent Russia-Ukraine oil war. The biggest buyer is China. Gas biggest buyer is Europe. They couldn't punish both of them and they found one scapegoat. इसके ऊपर डाल देते हैं. So that's all. There is no economic logic. Now what is tariff? Tariff is like a tax, import duty. In India also we have. So when you import something, why don't we have Tesla cars here? We charge like 100% duty. Something that comes into India, we charge double, its price doubles. Similarly, what goes out of India, they charge a tax. It's a tax charged by the US government on items that come into India. So in Indian case, they are going to make it 50%. So if the value of the good is 100 rupees, earlier their tariff, maybe 3-4%, now it's become 50%. 100 rupees becomes 150. Does it mean the price of that will become 150? Not necessarily, because if Indian people had some margin, some of them the producer may sort of absorb. बाकी वहाँ पे consumer को देना पड़ेगा, and the US government gets taxes. So what it makes is Indian items. So suppose यहाँ से जो clothes जा रहा है, let's say बांग्लादेश से जा रहा है और इंडिया से जा रहा है, पहले दोनों का प्राइस सेम था, अभी इंडियन वन विल बी मोर एक्सपेंसिव. इसका मतलब है US consumers will not buy this, they will go for that. And unfortunately, because we don't have like high tech stuff, मान लीजिए you are exporting something which only we have technology, और China rare earth minerals किसी के पास है ही नहीं. So if you put your tax or whatever, the consumer had to buy. That is called inelastic. So if our exports were inelastic, then इससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. We would still export the same thing, their consumers would bear the price. But most of the items that we export are elastic. So which means if the price, they are price sensitive. So price बढ़ेगा तो उनका demand वहाँ घटेगा US में. So that is why they are, there will be impact. That's the, the price will be higher. And it's not that our people are operating with huge margins. So they won't be able to absorb that tax. Suppose if our people absorb the tax, then consumer pays the same thing. So I think most of it will have to be passed on, which means US consumer will not buy some of this. But having said that, your viewers should know that it's only on some goods. See, our biggest export to the US is services, IT and all. उस पे कुछ नहीं है, because that will hurt them. See, why are they not taxing China? Because if they stop, ultimately US consumer will pay, right? True. They import so much goods from China that they don't want to increase price. From India, they get services. Our service export is much higher than, 50 to 60% of our service export goes to US. Goods it's a very small portion. We export, I think, around 80 billion to US. Out of that, 40 billion is going to get taxed. So it is not like end of the world or anything, but it will have an impact.
Yeah. So like you said कि IT is one sector जो वो हमें threaten नहीं कर सकते with tariffs. So what are the sectors that you think are, you know, threatened, and what are the sectors you think will be very resilient to this entire tariff war thing?
IT, I think, because there isn't such talent pool available elsewhere. If they want to replicate it tomorrow morning,
Yeah.
you can't buy software engineers from Indonesia tomorrow morning, right? You have to create them, and we are creating in like so much bulk. So, but things like gems and jewelry, clothing, textiles, these they can get from Bangladesh, they can get from elsewhere. So those are things that again, I think these two are the most impacted.
And I was looking at a video the other day, and वहाँ पे, so it was an interview of some traders जो export करते थे, and they said that this tariff war has hit them harder than COVID. Now that's a very big statement to make, considering कि कितने लोग unemployed हुए थे during that time. So I just want to know, what do we do now to at least safeguard ourselves, क्योंकि obviously we cannot control कि US हम पे कितना tariff लगाता है, but what are the precautions that we can take in India to kind of prevent the wave of unemployment that it will follow?
See, there are short-term measures and long-term measures. Short-term measures, you have to support those industries, which the government is thinking, they're giving them extra credit. See, look, they are going to produce. Now, what has happened is, one of their customers has sort of deserted them.
Yeah.
So they have to find alternative customers, and the government is doing it. Government is looking at other sectors. PM has been away for so long. They're reaching out to other countries.
Yeah.
It's not that if US doesn't buy, it's going to be zero. So right now the impact is as if it's going to be zero. Their ability to produce remains,
Yeah.
and they will find some other buyer sometimes, and there is domestic buyers also. So in the short run, you should make sure that they don't have liquidity issues, because for few months they may not have any business at all.
Yeah.
Right? It takes time to find some customers. They may have zero business, and all this president has been reversing his stand every 2-3 months. You by November this may go also. Give them some guaranteed loans, some kind of tax concessions, and so on for these sectors only, impacted sectors. The reason I don't think this is going to be a big deal for the macro economy. Of course, those sectors, yes, it will. Those particular sectors, textile and all, it will hit. But our growth is very unique. Our growth is completely productivity driven. It is not export driven. It is not, see, China, East Asian countries and all, when they grew, what they did was they created a huge manufacturing base and started exporting. It was a time of globalization. India did not grow like that. Whatever we have grown is improvement, reforms and productivity driven, and our productivity is increasing at an increasing rate. So given if that continues, you have domestic consumers. So productivity means your earning ability going down. If you become more productive, your earning ability will go down. So you will consume. So you don't need to export it to US. So I don't see a medium term challenge also. Challenge is adjusting in this short term period. And I think whatever government is contemplating is the right way of going about it, because you can't control this. See, if instead there is a easy option, go and fall to their feet and do whatever, but that will have long term negative consequences. Then they will arm twist on everything. I think what government is doing is right.
And like you mentioned कि Donald Trump has this habit कि वो कुछ statement देते हैं and then he withdraws it.
हाँ.
And lately उन्होंने भी कुछ comment किया था that Russia and India are dead economies.
Yes.
And then he said something along the lines of they can
Take it to their oceans or something.
Yeah. Now, that's a very big statement to make. Calling India, which is the 4th largest economy, we're the fastest growing economy.
Yes. You have freedom of expression. You can say anything you want.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's the most dynamic economy right now, so
True,
it's not
very
dead.
true. And there's a lot of good that we're seeing. I think global perception India ka has improved quite a lot in the last few years. But I feel like हम दो Indias में रहते हैं. One is this tier 1, kind of India, जहाँ पे you see there's so much convenience. We have access to all sorts of facilities. There's a lot of, employment is okay. Everything feels very, very good, right? Positive. On the other hand, of course, I know that there are areas in the country जहाँ पे people are, I'll say this way, they don't have access to basic necessities.
Sure.
Right? And then that's the reality. But
Yes.
I feel like right now, as a whole, हमें एक picture paint करा गया है that, we're doing really well.
Right.
Where do we stand with respect to how much growth we have made over the last 30 years, let's say?
Sure.
And what next? जो reforms हमने अभी तक हमें यहाँ तक लेके आए हैं, are these the ones that are going to take us forward, or do we need more aggressive changes?
Okay, so these are very big questions, so there will be a longish answer. So the way you feel like that is because of your age.
Yeah.
You have not seen how it was 20-30 years ago. Entire part was like that, worse than that.
Yeah.
There was not even this. Everybody was poor.
Yeah.
You know, we were equal in a sense that everyone was poor. You know, we had to wait like 7 years for a telephone. Infant mortality used to be like 100. You know, 1 out of 10 child used to die. You know, so many mothers used to die. You know, go ask your grandmothers. You know, they would have delivered 9 children and 7 survived.
Yeah.
Right? This was the entire country. So from there we have come a long, long way. In fact, if you see extreme poverty, India is not although India is the largest country, you know, we have reduced from 22% to like something like 5%. You know, there is nobody now, you know, you may find some odd case here and there who will die because of starvation, no food and all of that. So we used to have that. You know, we used to go to US, beg for food.
Yeah.
You know, this was our situation. You know, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi had to go to US, and US used to send ship up to port, and then, you know, we were starving, we didn't have food, and they would send a ship up to port, and then blackmail the Indian government that only if you agree on this, we will send you this. It's already come to your shore. You know, they used to call this ship to mouth policy, like, you know, ship to mouth.
That's
Yeah,
evil.
this was our situation. That's what I'm saying. From there, we have grown this far. I came from my village yesterday, and the situation, you know, if I compare it to what it was, of course, if you compare it to South Bangalore or some nice locality, they're different. But if you compare it to what it was, that in fact, I actually feel that people here have a worse life than in my village. Because I see all water logging, what the life is this? It was very comfortable in my village. You know, I had internet, I have everything. You know, I stayed 3-4 days. It was very, very comfortable. Here I felt a lot of discomfort. You know,
I agree to that.
you know, I would say of course you have earning opportunities, but I don't think quality of life here is any better than in village. You know, medical facilities and all are maybe better, but you don't have basic movement. You know,
Very true.
that's a problem.
Yeah.
In fact, we should improve our cities much better.
Yeah.
You know, and those extreme poverty has gone. Now coming to what can be done. Of course, doesn't mean that we are a developed country. Not at all. You know, all said and done, you know, per capita nominal is not the right number. You should use purchasing power and all is great, but we're still poor. You know, our quality of education is not good. Health facilities are not good. There are a lot of districts without a single good hospital. You know, that's a shame. Even one woman dying during delivery is a shame. You know, one may happen, but very few. You know, it should be at that developed country levels. You know, things can improve. Of course, things can improve. But then, having compared to what it was before, we are much better. Even in those villages, you know, because now the government's the so-called freebies. One thing they've ensured is nobody starves.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has something to eat or something. So that's there. Now, coming to what needs to be done, maybe we'll, you know, then I'll go on a long rant. How do we grow and all that?
Yeah.
So, give you a simple, the only way we grow, we are at 6 seats. 7.8 is 1 quarter. You know, we should not take 1 quarter very seriously. You know, things can go up and down. But we are growing at 6.5%, 7%.
Yeah.
We have to touch 10%. 8-9, if China did 8-9%, China did 8-9% 20 years. You want to lift everyone out of poverty, you want a really developed country, the Vishwaguru that we claim, we need to grow at 8-9%. That'll require not the kind of reforms we did. You know, it has to be very different. You know, things what we did is fine. We have to move from manufacturing to innovation. That is where you grow.
True.
You know, China grew by manufacturing because it's a globalized world. We need to create world-class products. We need to focus on innovation and promote that. Unless we innovate and create new products, we will not be leaders anywhere. Why is US able to punish us and get away? Why not China? Because our products are substitutable.
Very true.
You know, if you are an innovative product, you can't substitute.
Yeah.
So we have to build those.
On that note, there's this reality TV show where entrepreneurs come और वो funding raise करते हैं. And I made an observation कि वहाँ पे अगर कोई कचौड़ी बेच रहा है, you know, नमकीन बेच रहा है, they are able to raise funding. But people who have innovative tech products, they are struggling. So what are the policies that we should keep in place, and how should we create an infrastructure जहाँ पे these genuine innovators are supported?
Yeah, so first of all, we need to have those people who innovate, you know, high quality. There's a wonderful book called New Geography of Jobs. I recommend all your, एक बार पढ़िए आप उसको. You know, the thing with innovation, right? You need to have innovative people clustered together. Innovation doesn't happen in isolation. Right? First of all, there are very few people who can do breakthrough innovation. It's not that किसी को भी training करके I can make them entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs and innovators are a rare species. We have to recognize that. It's not that there are like floating around innovators, floating around. So these people you have to get them here. And the thing is, they work in clusters. See, what happens is these people discuss ideas. It's called human capital spillover. Innovators work really well when there are a group of innovators. Why do you have all the innovation coming out of Silicon Valley?
Yeah.
Again, if you remember, 25 years ago, when internet came for you, internet is like a basic necessity, right? We have gone no telephone to telephone and all that.
Yeah.
So one famous thing was death of distance. People said, अभी तो इंटरनेट है, everybody is connected. You sit in a village versus Silicon Valley, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ना चाहिए. So the idea was death of distance. इसका मतलब ये है कि सब जगह progress होगा. Innovation will happen everywhere, but it became more concentrated. It did not become death of distance. The reason is you need these. What happens is for innovators, they need to discuss. They in fact there is a wonderful anecdote. Indians in the US, San Francisco, they meet on weekend cricket matches. This is one of the most fertile ground for research, collaboration, M&A, and all of that. Because if once you're an innovator, right, if you sit together, you only will talk about technology. You will talk about, entrepreneur will talk about, So you need a group of innovators. You need a critical mass of innovators. That is where a particular region becomes innovation hub. Think about Detroit versus Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
Detroit focused on only automobiles. They tried growing automobiles. As long as automobiles were doing well, that did well. Today, what's the situation? How many people want to go to Detroit? Instead, what Silicon Valley did, got in good people. And because there were good people, that led to when technology changed, they also changed different products from computers to internet, coding, and now AI. Everything, when things change, everything is coming from there.
Yeah.
So you need to get these innovators. Innovation is what leads to growth, and not production. So we have to realize that production is not a very valuable thing. We romanticize agriculture and manufacturing, right? That's our problem. We somehow think that manufacturing is the one. See, I'll tell you, there will be you're very young and you may not ask this question out of respect. People say, oh, ordinary people, where will they get jobs? If I focus on, maybe you were thinking about that.
Yeah.
That is what that book clearly busts that myth. Look, most ordinary people do not work in manufacturing. They work in what are known as non-tradable services.
Okay.
This is your hairstylist. This is your driver. This is your doctor. This is your nurse. This is your teacher. They work in a local area. 2/3 of the employment in the US and most parts of the world is in non-tradables. Now, non-tradable, the thing about non-tradable is that guy's income depends on his or her customer's income. A hairstylist in Delhi versus a hairstylist in my village, even if they're equally skilled, amount of money they make is very different, even after considering expenses. Why? Because in Delhi, you come as a customer.
Yeah.
There, somebody else. So if I focus on growing your income, these jobs will expand. In fact, that paper shows, that book shows, every job in a high-tech sector creates 6 jobs. Versus manufacturing, every job creates 1.7 jobs.
Oh.
This is the difference. It's a win-win for all. Get these innovators. They will grow the economy, and that will lead to jobs for everyone, and the economy grows.
Yeah.
Instead, we are following the Detroit path. Our PLI and all of that is focused on our mobile karo. Government doesn't know. Today it could be mobile. Tomorrow, during our time, TV used to be a big deal.
Yeah.
TV came and we were like, wow. For when you were born, maybe TV, you
Now
never bothered
every
about
room
TV.
has one,
You never bothered
individual
about TV, and you may not have TV also. TV was high tech. Imagine somebody who promoted only TV manufacturing, gave discounts. Today they are dead.
True.
Vehicle was US Detroit, I told you. The thing is, you need people who will adjust. It's not those poor guys' fault, whoever you said did not get funding.
True.
Unfortunately, they may not be the best.
Yeah.
We need to get those front end best people. Every city should have like 5,000 of them. We need to think about how to get them, and they will kickstart the economy. And the government should focus on this clearing waterlogging and things like that.
Yeah,
that
we'll
is
actually
what
come
they
to
should.
that. But when you mentioned, we should kind of encourage, hairstylists and people who are doing non-tradable job, like you said. अब मेरे माइंड में naturally question आएगा when I look at quick commerce and I look at the delivery people that are employed by all of these companies. मेरे माइंड में 2 questions आते हैं. One, when platforms like these e-commerce and quick commerce, जब ये aggregators आते हैं, I kind of feel really bad for the local kirana shops in my society,
Exactly.
right? Because they are no longer getting customers. Now I order everything online, so I can only imagine how many customers they must be getting. So is this like a fair development? Because at the end of the day, I can see that there is this really big company that is employing hundreds of people, but then I also see a lot of hundreds of local kirana stores that no longer have customers.
Sure.
So how do we balance this? That's the first question. And secondly, all of these delivery agents that now we have, I feel like कि अभी उनके पास ये job है, which is just they pick up an order, they drop it. This is an employment. But is there really genuine skill development happening with these people?
Right.
And are we like kind of creating this kind of, heap of people who have jobs but they have no skills?
Sure.
So where do we go?
Okay, on the first question, what about the Kirana guy, right? So
Yeah.
theory is very straightforward. It's a part of, the economy's creative destruction. Same questions were asked. You will not believe. Again, I take back to the world where you were not born.
Okay.
We used to have telephone booths. There is nobody here who is old enough to must have seen telephone booths. You will not believe. 30 years ago, if you had come here, every 10 meters you would have had a telephone booth. Lakhs and lakhs of people employed, maybe crores. There were people outside hospitals, especially after 10 o'clock. This used to be 1/4. So we would wait for 10 o'clock and then you had to have long queues outside this, this simple telephone that this thing we used to
Yeah,
dial.
yeah.
Have you seen it somewhere?
I've seen it in movies.
Ah,
that's
movies, right? Amitabh Bachchan movies you will see.
Yeah.
So then that used to employ, crores of people. Then cyber cafes came in, where internet you pay 30 rupees,
remember
50
that.
rupees and
Cyber
all
cafes,
that,
I
right?
remember.
All of that is gone. Total number of employment has increased, not decreased after that. So technology means creative destruction is a part of life. You can't, see my point is as a, in economics, right? You have to recognize trade-offs.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, then you won't grow. Of course, you want to stagnate. Then Kirana will be there, everything will be there. Then don't aspire 8%. वो नहीं होगा. 8-9% has to, unfortunately, this is a process. There needs to be, old ones will go, new ones will come. Those who adopt will prosper, those who don't will suffer. You can't do anything for that. Where did those people go? I have no idea. Those telephone wale, those who had. That's one part of it. Second, but having said that, of course, we are human beings. You can't just say that the problem with this Kirana particularly, right? These guys are 50-year-olds.
Yeah.
Theory assumes that they will do something else. The question is, what is that something else? That is a challenge, because where will they go and what will they do? That is why, as a government, there are two ways. One is to ban kar do. Then everybody will become poor, like before. You could have banned you could have banned computers. You could have, when computers were introduced, there were strikes in banks and all. Imagine, because so many people, same logic. कहाँ जाएगा 50-year-old typist? What will the typist do, right? That's one way. Second, make skill development robust. You know this problem, right? This is one particular sector, right? Develop other avenues. See, one of the things what will happen with innovation, right? People's income will increase. Those who are innovated, those companies' income will increase. That means they'll spend more. Demand for other services is going to increase. Some of them may become tourist guides. If you have a lot of money, you start, spending on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Look at what are the other avenues these people are going to spend. Which means which require service providers. Let these people become service providers. Maybe one Kirana guys close down that shop and hire an auto rickshaw and drop children from their home to, because now the parent will have higher income. On an average, who is trained will have higher income. They can afford that. Maybe children used to walk. We used to walk to school. I yesterday came from, now the same distance people go in auto rickshaw, and then they say life has become worse off. I remember walking barefoot in the same place, and the people who are now taking auto rickshaw saying, "Oh, life is worse off. Go back and walk." Right? So they've forgotten that how life was before. So the point is, as a government, I agree. We should focus on the losers,
Yeah.
especially middle-aged and above losers. Young losers is not a problem. They should be able to learn and adapt. The 45-50-year-olds, what do you do for losers? That I agree with you. State governments, that's why decentralization is important. Central government cannot sit here and do. A local government there in that municipality, panchayat, should look for avenues.
Yeah.
What is, can we develop tourism here? Can we do the schooling thing? What other things these people can do?
Yeah.
And that they can promote. And the other thing is minimum social security. Nobody, like we have food and all these programs, so that nobody starves. That should not happen. Now the last point about these guys, these two-wheeler guys, right?
Yeah.
They are not skilled. Now, what is skill? Skill means solving differential equations. Yes, if you define skill is differential equation, they don't have skill, right? A mathematician may think you and me talking is not skill.
Not a skill.
You know, what are you doing? You're just talking. What's the big deal? It's not, right? So when you hire a maid from a village, you think she's not getting skill. Who told you? You know, she's learning a lot every day. People who worked as maid in our house, now they are working in a shop as salespeople. They pick up a little bit of English. They understand the kind of new products and services, and that is skill development. And the best part, her children are now going to better schools because 20,000. So look at the counterfactual. What will this Zomato guy would have, you know, including ministers, make fun of these people? They would have been in their village. They can't become nuclear scientists for sure. Straight away. Suppose I ban Zomato, will the guy become nuclear scientist? He'll do some BA or something in some government college. Waste 3 years. I did it, that's why I can tell you. And then do what? Sit in a village under the tree and play matka. So versus, you should always think about counterfactual. Those who think patronizingly about these guys, they should ask, अगर मैंने इसको बैन करवा दिया, फिर क्या होगा? वो घर जाएगा. वहाँ पे there is only one small खेती and one brother is already there. This brother also will do. They'll start fighting with each other. They will write Indian agriculture is fragmented. You know, there is no that, like, you can't have both ways, right? So this is at least pulling them out from that to something different, right? Now, guy will understand the geography of a city very well, move around, will know how to find places, will be exposed to different kind of people. Will develop some connections. Some of them who are good will go. See, from my village, a lot of people used to go to Mumbai once upon a time. You know, there was no jobs there, right? So they would go and join as they would clean glasses. You know, young age, 8-9-year-old. My own relatives, my uncles have fled not in a negative sense. Had to leave village. There's nothing. There's no income. 9-10-year-olds they have left and they went to. This is like 50-year-old. 50 years ago, they went to Mumbai, joined as what? Cleaning glasses. Now you could ask what skill it gives. Today they have restaurant chains. Right? So it is not, you know, you should always think about counterfactual. अगर ये नहीं होता तो क्या होता? उससे तो बेहतर है ना? I agree, improve schools. See, the problem is if you had done better schools in their villages, better facilities in their villages, they would have done something else. That is a long-term solution. So that way I don't see anything wrong with the Zomatos and Swiggies of the world. You know, it is better than staying in a village and fighting with the brother for the same piece of land and doing nothing or sitting under you should travel in villages. You know, I always drive long drives. Half the people are sitting under the tree and playing matka. There's this game called this got banned recently. This is what guy would have done.
Yeah, I was actually coming to that because you were talking about bans and everything.
Yeah,
मैं वही सोच रही थी कि अभी तो हम लोगों ने ऑनलाइन गेमिंग एंड इस पे बैन लगा दिया है.
Right.
And I was just thinking कि you know it was a massive industry, right? And clearly लोग engage कर रहे थे.
Right.
Now that they've banned it, what is the expectation कि इन लोगों को magically क्या jobs मिल जाएगी? क्या ये magically they'll think of entrepreneurship? Like, what is the expectation by banning these platforms?
No, nothing will happen magically. But the question is, you need to understand who are these people who are playing.
Yeah.
See, where is the role of government? First of all, philosophically speaking, if your action is impacting somebody else, that even if you're Milton Friedman, you will agree that government has a role. It's called externality. Right? Now, the question is there are two sides to it. One is those who are employed in that gaming industry versus those who are playing the games.
Yeah.
There are two sides of those who are playing the games were far more than those who are employed in, like 26 crore. You know, 26 crore were playing the game. Now the question is, what were they doing? Were they, you know, if you ban this gaming or before, you know, when are they playing? Are they playing games instead of working?
Yeah.
You know, instead of working 8 hours, they work 6 hours. You know, I've seen some shopkeepers, customer is there standing, waiting, this guy is doing this team selection. Right? He's losing this business. Right? So, from that side, if that is what is going on, I don't have the data, then stopping this actually will increase production, not reduce. Increase jobs on a net basis.
Yeah.
Because these guys who are playing games were doing at the expense of their productivity.
Now
Because
they'll go back to their
yeah,
own
because
jobs.
on an average they were losing. They were not gaining. Otherwise, casino always makes money. The player, see, doing it for fun, you know, people who have a lot of money is different. And secondly, the dangerous thing that was happening, a lot of people miss, they were borrowing and playing.
Yeah.
Now, if you borrow and play, look at the consequence. You know, on an average, you will lose.
Yeah.
You don't know, but that's a fact. Statistical fact that on an average, they're going to lose. Somebody will make money. Now, if you borrow, which means next year, you will have to repay that. Where are you going to repay from? you will start cutting on your children's education. That is where there is an externality. You will start cutting on medical expenses. You will start cutting on very basic facilities, right? Your own, and that will reduce from an economy's point of view. That is far worse. Then some people, not any action will have some negatives. If you focus on only that side, it looks like a bad thing. So the question is, what was derivatives, for example? I feel that is even more bigger gambling. Being a finance professor, I am telling you. A lot of people are lending to trade in derivatives, and if you understand, it's a different story. But if you borrow, if you don't know what's a call option, what's a put option, what's a payoff, if you don't know writing an option is different than buying an option, and somebody's told you it will double or triple, and borrow and do it, because you have to repay. What you have got is a debt. आपको तो देना पड़ेगा कल. कहाँ से दोगे? Your दुकान में तो see, in fact, I feel the kirana guy is losing more because of this than Zomato. The guy is focused so much on that. If you lose, imagine when your customer comes. How does, I have not been for some time. Have seen this typical kirana guy. 10 customers are standing. This guy is so sharp that he will know the list of all the 10. आपका बेंच है, आपका कितना हुआ, आपका ये बिल भी भर देगा, टोटल भी exact. The guy is really sharp. इस बीच में अगर इसको टीम सिलेक्शन करना पड़े,
एक जगह से ऑनलाइन गैम्बलिंग,
हाँ, तो इसी टाइम में करना पड़ेगा ना, वो मैच से पहले करना पड़ेगा. तो कस्टमर तो that's a loss to the economy. And then if he borrows, that is even worse. So I don't know what was going on in this case. I am not in favor of bans in general. People who have good enough income, who are doing large ticket, karne do. Why should government bother? Some rich guy wants to have some fun and lose money. Who are we to? So two things have to stop. One, any financial institution lending for this purpose should stop. Because that's a diversion. People take personal loans and start lending for this. That regulator should come heavily on. That should stop. And second, very poor people, who don't understand small ticket sizes. That should be banned. Because these guys are trying to come out of their poverty trap with the hope that isse nikal jayega. They don't realize that will put them in a much bigger trap. These two should be stopped. I am not in favor of outright ban. People with money, let them have fun. What is your problem?
Okay, so I recently did a podcast with Saurabh Mukherjee, and we were talking about themes that he thinks are going to change the country. And he talked about something really interesting. He said that he feels like the south of India is going to explode with opportunities. And he said that we'll see most of country's growth coming from the south. Now, I wanted to ask you this, what do you think is happening? Because we were talking about this the other day, and I realized कि someone mentioned, I think it was you only, that सबसे ज़्यादा lottery भी लोग south में ही खेलते हैं, right? But सबसे ज़्यादा literacy भी वहीं पे है in the country. This is completely contradictory. Why would someone, knowing कि वो lottery में उनके chances कितने ही हैं? So I want to understand what kind of opportunity are we seeing first from the south of India, and then we'll move on to other themes.
I'm not sure. See, who has seen the future? What will grow, what will not grow. Of course, today's condition in south is better than in the north. That is for sure, for growth. But I don't see why Mumbai, for instance, Mumbai is doing really well. Why can't this area, other than your infrastructure, if it improves a little bit, why can't this be a source of growth? I don't see why, Haryana, for instance, is doing as good as Telangana in terms of numbers. There is no difference. Per capita is almost similar. GDP growth is similar. So I don't see why, look, what area grows is not predetermined. I always have a problem where someone tells you this theme is going to do well, this particular thing will do well. This is it's not determined. Exposed, you can always cook. I'll do a simple example. Seattle, how it became IT hub. So this Bill Gates, when he dropped out of Harvard, he was in a very different city. I forget the name. It starts with A.
Arizona?
No, not so well known. He started, Paul Allen and Bill Gates started there, Microsoft. Both of them decided we will go to Seattle because it was their native place. It is not that Seattle was known for IT or anything. Seattle was known for Boeing. Seattle was known for Washington University. There was nothing other than that. So in the 70s, two people of some small startup decide that they will go to Seattle, right? And 10 workers were there. They opposed. They said, hell with you. We are going. 10 kya farak. That soared, then 15 years later, Amazon had to start there only. In fact, Jeff Bezos' native place
Yeah.
was exactly that place where Bill Gates started.
Yeah.
But Jeff Bezos could not go to his native place. He started exactly in Seattle. And Microsoft alumni created 4,000 companies. Hollywood, for instance. Apparently, someone was, due to avoid patent, I forget the name of this person.
Yeah.
There's a patent law somewhere in New York or somewhere. To avoid that, the guy came to Los Angeles. Nothing, not that Hollywood, this was the best place to do movies. The topmost inventor. The story of all industries is these top people. Where did they start? Do you really think that living conditions in Bangalore is better than Hyderabad? You come to two cities. Hyderabad is so much better.
Yeah.
But Bangalore keeps growing over Hyderabad because initial conditions, right? So we never know if you can create a innovation. That's why I keep harping these founders, innovators, and if you get enough of them in one place, that will be the magnet. So we don't know what is, it could be anywhere. I don't think it is deterministic. In fact, wherever people have tried to box a particular region with a particular industry, most of the time it has failed. So I think our planners and governments should stop targeting a particular industry,
Yeah.
should let it play out the way it is.
Okay.
And improve on their basic thing, the road, municipality. That is what your job is.
I think
Forget
आज आप वो
about all of
suffer
that.
करके आए हो रोड वाला
नहीं यार, municipality ठीक करो, school ठीक करो, let things happen,
Yeah.
because it's very difficult for anyone, even if you are a market person, to visualize what are the industries 20 years from now. Who knew 20 years ago that these are the industries? 30 years ago or 40 years ago, could anyone have predicted that Bangalore, which is like retired place, garden city, there is nothing there, God-forsaken place, will become IT hub? Today I saw somewhere it's like 6th in the world or something.
Yeah.
So when we cannot do it, why do now?
Yeah.
Create conditions for growth, and then things will grow.
But it's okay. So Bangalore के बारे में, like you said that if innovators come together, वो growth को drive करता है, and it
Yes.
has nothing to do with the theme or whatever is going
Yes.
on. It's the people.
Yes.
And I agree with you. But then again, like I think ये बड़ा ही अजीब सा question होने वाला है. So you will have to now
Yeah.
kind of figure out a way to answer this. But I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
thinking about this कि Bangalore का example लेते हैं. So many innovators flock there. Some of the toppers from my university, everyone's going to Bangalore because opportunities, so many opportunities, great. But then I look at the infrastructure of that place, like you said, ki road, traffic, even real estate ke prices.
Exactly.
These are real issues that real people are struggling with.
Yes.
So if we want to encourage these innovators flocking together, again, from a policy perspective, from a reform perspective, what are the checks that we can keep in place to encourage people to be doing this without stressing about कि यहाँ पे road खराब है, मुझे 3 घंटे traffic में लगेंगे. What do we do in
I would
solve these issues?
actually turn it the other way. इसके बावजूद भी 3 घंटे लग रहे हैं, रोड खराब है, फिर भी वही जा रहे हैं लोग.
Counterfactual.
Right? That is because of these guys. It's see, getting, sadly, some of your viewers may not feel good. It is not the ordinary worker who drives anything.
Yeah.
That guy will follow. It's very, see, we romanticize agriculture and SMEs and then don't do anything for them.
Yeah.
Right? We just, Annadata, and these are not job creators. Job creators are entrepreneurs and innovators. And there are not 10,000 or a million of them. There are few of them who can create transformative stuff. Yeah. So if you were, let's say, a CM of a city or a mayor of a city, and of course I will tell you, you can't have it dirty and all that. Make it a little bit decent.
Yeah.
But somehow make sure that some 100 of these top guys in the world, starting from maybe Arvind Srinivasan of Perplexity, who still hasn't got a green card, get those people here. कुछ भी दे दो incentive, give him whatever incentive you want. Because the benefit of these people, they are going to create so much of an economy or a new economy. Is going to be, everybody else will come there. Though, and repeated studies. In fact, why did San Diego become a biotech hub? Again, people started, is it because of some random university and this? Every such question eventually ends up with 2, 3, 4 top guys
People,
moving out for somebody moved because his girlfriend is here. Nothing to do with the quality of the city. Right? That guy was such a top-notch person. He created something. Then 10 other people followed. And that's the story. So if you get if Hyderabad, for instance, if it has to compete with Bangalore, we'll have to get those top people first. Not anybody else. So they have, otherwise Hyderabad infrastructure is way better. You come to Hyderabad, I'm not saying it's a first world or anything, but way better than that. You don't have this kind of issues, but still you need to attract those people. And they are already clustered. See, the thing with research, innovation or ideas is 1 + 1 is more than 2. You need that other person.
Yeah.
So once you create a cluster is where things grow. So I think I don't see despite things being bad, people will still be there
Yeah.
because that's where the ecosystem is.
Yeah.
So, and the moving the ecosystem doesn't mean move everything. And you don't have to move them, right? Get new people. Once innovators are there. So one of the things that I tell policymakers in Hyderabad, wherever we meet, start creating this research ecosystem. I'll tell you, with a lot of intelligent people in the government and outside also, because they are so intelligent and so good, they think that they have a view of the future and they can determine what's going to happen. No, you cannot determine. It's all, I can give a persuasive argument why South will do well to convince you now.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that's how it's going to play out. Because there are limits to how much I can see.
Yeah.
There are these small things. So I think the winner in India is going to be a place where innovators are going to congregate.
Right.
So we still don't have top class innovators. If they congregate in NCR region, NCR will be the winner. If they congregate in South, South will be the winner. Or now one place I'm seeing is Mumbai.
Yeah.
By the way, Fadnavis is going after, in fact, there is for the first time, they're starting a dedicated math university. The innovation now is math. AI requires math, not coding.
True.
Right there with Manjul Bhargava, who won that medal. I forget the name of the medal, the top medal in maths. So he's starting a university funded by private players in Mumbai. Maybe that will be the cluster.
I've been doing so many podcasts, and almost every podcast we talk about how the markets are overvaluated.
Right.
But since you come from the world of both finance and economics, let me ask you, ये जो overvaluations हैं of sectors and of companies and of the market, does this have any economic justification? Like, are the fundamentals backing the kind of growth that the stock market is seeing? या ये सिर्फ एक bubble है?
See, bubbles do exist in market. You should read Robert Shiller, who's the one who started about whole behavioral economics revolution. Started with Robert Shiller, pointing out that markets do this irrational stuff. They go up. Otherwise in finance class, right, we teach market is value is present value of future cash flows. Whatever you're going to earn, take a discount rate, get it today. So that's what should be the value. Now the question is, in India's case, see, whether exactly 24,600 Nifty is bubble, I have no idea. If that was the case, I would not have come here all the way and spoken to you. I would have done that only. Let me confess. But having said that, is there a case for treating India differently? I think the answer is yes. The reason I told you, right, we were looking at growth numbers of India. Most we looked for, there is, your audience can look at it. There's this Penn World tables. It gives 100-year history of all countries. How did they grow? Now, by the time other countries reached India's stage of development in terms of per capita income, in terms of purchasing power, not the nominal dollars, their productivity had started falling. See, look, economy grows. There are 4 ways in the long run. One is you invest. Second is labor. Labor becoming, labor supply. Third is human capital. Labor becoming more productive. Second, I said more labor. Second is labor becoming more productive. Fourth is TFP, which is called total factor productivity. It's like technological progress. These are 4 things that determine growth. Try to improve productivity. That's why I keep harping on innovation. And there are 2 more things. While our population cannot grow, the labor force participation among women is very low. If you can improve that, improve labor force participation of women, generally improve human capital, improve the quality of education and training that's available, and continue with our productivity growth which is happening, then it doesn't appear from a 10-year perspective. I don't think it's overvalued.
Tariffs and all of these things, इससे India की overall, not from just this, not from a time frame perspective, but from a long-term perspective, कुछ इतना impact आएगा नहीं, because our growth is too dynamic.
Yes.
We're not centered around just one
Yes.
factor.
Yes.
We're way too diverse.
ये ताइवान होता तो बंद हो जाता उनका दुकान.
हाँ, true.
We were not. If this had happened to China 20 years ago, they would have been in deep trouble.
Right.
because they grew by cheap products and exporting it. Of course, now they have become innovative and all. But having reached 19 trillion, China is 19 trillion, we are 4 trillion.
Yeah.
So when we go there, we'll become. But initially, see, they had this very good thing. World was globalizing, and they positioned themselves as producers of items cheap, and then started exporting. We are in a world where world is deglobalizing.
Yeah.
So we can't follow that model. That is why we need to continue on productivity and become more innovative.
So I was reading this article the other day, and it said that India's probably the most dangerous weapon, or the most efficient weapon that we have, is the Indian consumer, right? Because these are the guys that are going to take care of everything. Because if our consumption is strong, then these tariffs, we can bear the force of it. So I want to ask you, just from a consumption perspective, are we, again, because I just read numbers, I don't know the real thing that's going on behind the curtain. So you tell me, what is the Indian consumption pattern looking like? Are we consuming at a rate that we can actually support the country's growth, or is there more that needs to happen?
Look, this is another. I feel really frustrated when I see on TV
Yeah.
that consumption drives growth. It's so ridiculous that if having population is what matters, Nigeria is also good.
True.
Right? Go to Nigeria. Pakistan should do well. They have a high growth of. In India, UP should be the best place. Right? So consumption is a result of production. What is consumption? If you earn more, only you will consume.
Yeah.
See, the people have this totally ridiculous idea that, it's a short-term idea. Short-term, it makes sense. That because of my consumption, somebody will get income and all that. Right? But to consume, suppose I have nothing. I want to consume something from you. What will I consume? I have to pay something back. So first I earn.
Yeah.
So the secret weapon is production, not consumption. And we are becoming more and more productive. Once you have productive people, they are the ones who are going to consume. See, in the very short run, I'll tell you why the confusion is. In the extreme short run, consumption matters. Suppose you have already produced, and if people don't consume, then you have inventory. If you suppose you already produce 100 cars, right? People don't buy 100 cars. So 50 cars are left out, which means next year you will produce less cars. And that's a short-term Keynesian thing.
Yeah.
But in the long run, prices adjust. If people show less interest, car price will fall. So consumption is passive in the long run. What determines growth is production, not consumption. Production in the sense your earnings. Only so you are not interested in bodies. If I tell you in some place, I will tell you an example. I'll tell you there is one market where there are 100 people. All of them earn 1 crore. There's another market where there are 10,000 people. Beggars. They are nothing. Where will you sell?
Crores.
A crore wala number doesn't matter. Right? It's earning ability. So that is what we have to improve. Having bodies is not, somehow we think we have so many bodies, bodies, especially now with AI and all of that, bodies will become irrelevant.
Yeah.
Less relevant. Irrelevant is too much. You need producing bodies, productive bodies, productive in that economic sense.
Yeah.
Right? So having young people, having people who can eat more is not where you grow.
Yeah.
See, I cannot say, oh, this market is good because people are hungry. No. Market is good because people are willing to pay for that thing, whether hungry or not.
Yeah.
Just because somebody is hungry doesn't mean demand. Demand is what? This you have learned, right? Demand is you want that product and I will have the ability to pay for the product.
Yeah.
Right? So this excessive focus on consumption. When you see short run consumption, long run production. If you're thinking about 25-year growth, your ability to innovate and produce, the thing with innovation is it will increase your income. And once your income increases, you would pay more for the same hairstylist.
Yeah.
The hairstyle is doing the same thing, but you are willing to pay more. That's how their income increases.
Yeah.
And then they consume more. So consumption is a result and not a cause.
So if not consumption,
Right.
what are the other, matrices and other lenses that
Oh,
are
I told you, right?
investors should
These
look
4. Long-term growth.
at? Okay.
Savings rate, which is how much you have for investing. Labor force participation, labor force. Labor productivity, total factor productivity. Productivity of the machines and all that. These are 4 things that will drive. Because in the long run, if you don't like something, prices will fall. What is your worry? You don't like toothpaste, right? Toothpaste price will fall. So you will consume. It's not that I don't want to, if something you like, the price will go up.
Yeah.
So consumption is passive in the long run. In the short run, yes. So if you're thinking of a recession, something has gone wrong, that like COVID aa gaya. There you may have to promote consumption because people are afraid and nobody is investing also. And then there are stockpiles. People have already produced. And if you let that stock pile up like that,
Yeah.
then next year they will hire less people, and that will lead to a spiraling of crisis. That's the Keynesian argument.
Yeah.
There is an argument for promoting consumption in the short run, but you can't say Viksit Bharat and all then talk about consumption.
Yeah.
Consumption से विकसित भारत नहीं होगा.
उससे ज़्यादा complex
Yeah, we have to innovate. So, इसीलिए ना कि we don't have a single. Do we have a single world class product anywhere?
No.
We are consuming so much. क्यों नहीं होगा? Because we are not focusing on this innovation and all of that.
Yeah. I think.
So that is what, once you produce world class product, Apple, they say manufactured in China, but 60-70% of the income is in the US. They do design and marketing. Let's do that. You make 70% income. Consumption आएगा ना?
Yeah, I think when you said कि we don't have a world class product, and that's like a थोड़ा सा wake up call for me, because like you said, I think every other country is known for something. Like Germans, I associate them with cars,
Yeah,
world class cars, right? China, I would associate them with a lot of manufacturing. Like
Yeah.
whatever I need, the
Now they
cheapest
are world
is
class
in China.
EVs. They are doing better than US.
Yeah, but then I can't actually think of something that
Because
India
we never
is-
thought about this. Even now we are focusing on SME, agriculture and all that. Right? With due respect. Those are not going to be engines of growth.
Right,
So they will benefit if some, people start innovating.
right.
So innovation is the source of growth, not consumption.
A lot
So-
of insights, I think, from this conversation. That is good. But now let's talk about you, because I have a lot of questions. We've talked so much about consumption.
That's the
and
most
everything.
uninteresting part. What do you, finance professor, dull, boring,
No,
somewhere?
I think that is why your answers will be very interesting. So, the name of the show is The Net Worth Show.
Right.
So, we will be talking about your net worth. Can we?
Okay.
So, a professor at ISB, can we now know his net worth?
Okay, so again, I'll give an economist answer, right? What's the most important asset I have? Human capital. So human capital is present value of all the future, whatever I'm going to make. I have no idea, right? Human capital is not measured. So when you're not measuring my most important asset, so what's the point of net worth, right? That's the problem. But
Yeah.
hoga kuch, I've never bothered. We are paid reasonably well, better than what you find normally, better than the industry in your language. If I can, hoga, maybe few crores. I have no idea.
But
But
that
I've
is-
never bothered to calculate the exact number.
Got it.
I'm comfortable, I can lead a reasonably comfortable life, and then spend a lot of time reading.
So, like you said, so you have always had an interest for finance, right? I wanted to know कि you've been earning for a very long time, but कभी ना कभी mind में there's a shift, right? That okay, now I'm earning, now I need to think about building wealth, now I need to think about retirement. So what was that turning point for you?
Oh, great. So this is a wonderful. So I used to sell insurance policies, by the way, very related to your thing. And I realized the same argument. How do I go up next ladder from here? The same thing I'm doing repeatedly. And there I read, I forget the book. They were calculating returns to different asset classes. The asset class with the highest rate of return, S&P 500, represents equity.
Okay.
That is 7 to 8% annualized. In the US, it's a very big number, 7 to 8% annualized. Treasury is 1 or 2% that time, now 3-4%. Real estate is in between, gold is in between. The biggest investment your audience should make is human capital. I'm not saying come to ISB.
Yeah.
Learn. It could be just reading, talking to people. The rate of return of any kind of a training, which is sort of skill based, is around 15% per year. So I decided, 3-4 years, ab to kuch to karna padega, we have to shift from here.
Yeah.
And that's where I went to ISB, studied and all that. People have different things, you may learn on your own. Become a reader. I think the biggest investment people have to make is on themselves. Be curious. Ask nice, interesting questions. Try to solve them. Try to learn about this. Need not be formally. See, during our time, this Coursera and all was not there. If you don't want to pay the fees to white elephant finance professors, learn on your own. You don't need to go to college. Now you have everything, easily available. But it's a sad part is, MIT has MIT OpenCourseWare. They teach everything. Literal MIT classes. I see a lot of the courses that I have completed as a student. I do keep doing now also. First class, 50,000 people. Fifth class, 5,000. 25th class, 300.
So-
Right? So people it's all fancy things we update. People don't do it. I think the biggest pivot, if they have to do, invest in yourself. Use technology. Learn yourself. Retirement and all will take care of itself. But I agree. You have to have a sense that this is the year you're going to retire. You will survive 20-30 years. You need to use some inflation. These days, it's a very cheap calculation. You put this to ChatGPT, it will tell you how much you need. And you need to build a corpus. But at this stage, most of your viewers may be in their late 20s, early 30s, instead of thinking of retirement, they should think about building human capital.
Right.
What do I do that makes me more valuable
Right.
to the rest of the world?
Got it. So, I mean, as much as I'm enjoying this
I have to
human
stop.
capital wala perspective, I was curious because again, I think you have a much better picture of almost every asset class too, because you understand these things a lot more than a normal investor would. So, can we now know a little bit about your portfolio? How much have you invested where? And is there a particular asset class that you prefer over the others?
Yeah. I believe India is going to do well. Almost everything is in equities. I have not diversified or anything. Right?
That is very
Yeah,
I want
contrary,
to know the
because-
counterfactual here.
Yeah. So the reason is, I think it is. The reason is I have a reasonable, stable job. See, my human. See, the I'm in a reasonable, stable industry. I can take some risk. If things markets go down 20-30%, I will not lose my sleep over it.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm comfortable. And I think long term India will do well. If India does well, companies which are front and center will do well.
Yeah.
And that's how I've allocated money. All the the companies that large. I don't go for. See, if you want real investment advice, I will request your viewers to read Peter Lynch, One Upon Wall Street.
Yeah.
He defines investment as art, science, and legwork. If you really know, go and figure out what the company is doing, understand, and then that's it. If you can do that, then do your research and invest.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're better off passively buying an index, put some percentage into a index, have some gold, have some real estate, and you're done. You'll be fine. I think it's not as you shouldn't try to make it very interesting, and unless you really want to have fun with that. Keep some 10% you're willing to lose. Do derivatives. Maybe you'll you because of that, one of the benefit is you'll start following the market, following the economy. You'll learn more.
Yeah.
Maybe do that, but make sure that minimum what is required for an important goals are kept in sort of safe places.
Yeah.
And that's what you do.
So in our last conversation, which unfortunately the audience hasn't seen, but
Yeah.
वहाँ पे आपने mention करा था that you used to trade in derivatives. So and I think this is going to be really helpful for the audience who are young and they're enthusiastic about entering the markets. What are your thoughts on this really exciting, trading wala world where everyone feels like, oh, एक ही तो trade लेना है, I'll be able to, I'll make money and then I'll leave.
Yeah, as long as you're disciplined, it's fine. But the problem is if you start, there are two parts. One is house money effect. Once you start making money, you start thinking that ये free money hai, then you start doubling down. The other is disposition effect. When you lose money, you start trying to get it back. If you are not going to fall to these two traps, as long as you know that I'm not going to risk more than 5% of my net worth on this, do it.
Yeah.
It's fun. I also did it, lost money, made money, it's fine.
Yeah.
So beyond that, they should be careful. Don't borrow and do it, which is what a lot of those shopkeepers are doing.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
And I think my biggest lesson was probably, I had many, but I think the two most was always making sure that I'm looking at the counterfactual, because not enough people are doing
Sure.
that, and staying disciplined,
Sure.
because that is important. And thank you so much, sir, for giving us your time.
Thank you.
एंड यू टू, आई होप आपको ये कॉन्वर्सेशन पसंद आया हो. आपका सबसे बड़ा टेक अवे क्या था, मुझे कमेंट्स में ज़रूर बताइएगा. अब मैं आपसे मिलूंगी अगले हफ्ते विद अनदर गेस्ट, सो टेक केयर अंटिल देन.
Investment in the securities market is subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.